Alright, today we're going to be doing a DC jack repair on the part is Asus. It's a K53E DC jack Asus motherboard. So what we're first going to do is we're going to take our Kapton tape, which is this yellow tape that kind of disperses heat. We're going to make sure that we cover the surrounding plastic from the neighboring port here. So I'm just going to go cut a couple pieces of this if I can get it done. This is while we're applying heat, this is just going to help, make sure we don't melt any of the plastic next to it, because we definitely don't want to do that. Okay. Alright, so once you do that, I'm going to apply some flux. We use it's a Chip Quick SMD 291 flux. And I'm going to put this kind of around the port on all the pins. This is a botched job by another shop that you can see I'm not even sure what they did. It's crazy. It definitely doesn't look like they used flux when they tried to pull this out the first time. We're going to put a good amount of flux on there just going to make life easier. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our soldering iron. You're going to turn it on. And we're going to apply some low melt solder. Just 1 second while my soldering iron heats up. It's ready. Alright, so this is the low melt solder that I'm using. It's just a low melt alloy. And what this is going to do is I'm going to basically apply it to these joints all the way around, the 5 joints that go around here, and it is going to help us when it comes time, which is our next step, to pull this actual port off. By mixing this low melt alloy with the original solder, it's going to bring down the temperature that it takes to actually remove this port. You can see just pulling off some of the stuff that they had originally, the other shop had done. Alright. Okay, perfect. Alright, so now that we've done that, I'll go ahead and turn my soldering iron off. I'm going to apply flux again around these joints. The low melt solder has hardened. Alright, I'm going to take my hot air gun using an Extronic 9000 series rework station. I like to use 320 degrees Celsius for this type of application. Alright. So we're just going to go around, keep going back and forth around this in kind of a U horse shape movement until we get all this the low melt solder basically heats up and liquefies for us. It may take a minute, and you just want to keep going back and forth. You can go in a U shape, you can go in a circle shape. It doesn't really matter. You just got to kind of uniformly heat it. Looks like it's about ready. So you can see we have pulled that off successfully. It's the old port. So now what we're going to have to do is go into these areas and clean off the solder. We got to clean out these holes so we can get it ready for the next charging port to go, or the DC jack to go in here. Again, I'm going to turn on my solder station. Alright. I'll cut a little bit more off the end of this solder braid. Alright, perfect. And the original company that whoever did this repair originally left the old port in there, the actual bottom piece of it, and try to push it through. I may try to pull it down from the bottom. And so we're able to pull that through. Put a little bit more flux on there. So we'll clean that off a little bit better. Alright, so now I'm going to go to this hole. And again, I'm going to cut my braid a little bit more. Need the low melt solder, it fills up the braid very quickly. One second while I fix this. Alright. So now I got a little bit more flux here. So we clean out that one. We got one more to clean out. We'll be ready to put this new port in. Alright, so we got all the holes cleaned out. Turn my soldering iron off. I'm going to take my 99% isopropyl, put it on a toothbrush, go ahead and clean this area off. Don't want to leave flux on there. Because over time it actually can be corrosive. Many will say that it can't, but it can definitely be corrosive over time. So I want to make sure we clean this off really well. Alright, so once you have that cleaned off, now what we can do is drop our new port in there. And so it looks like the back, we need to get a little bit more solder off this back side right here. On the bottom, it's not pushing all the way through. I'm going to kind of go from the bottom with my tweezers to get the rest of this out. Alright. So, put a little more alcohol on my toothbrush again and scrub this off. And it looks like we'll be good this time. Alright. Let's try that again. Alright. So we are a little bit better this time. Perfect. Still doesn't want to go through perfectly. So that looks good now. Of course, I got flux on my hand, so it's pulling the port back out now. Alright. So I'm going to put a little bit of flux here on the back side. I'll do this back pin first. And then you can go ahead and put flux on all the joints, just to make it easier. Alright. So you're going to turn your soldering iron back on if you turned it off. I'm going to put some solder on tips. A little bit more flux in there. I'm going to apply a little bit more solder. Alright, so it looks like a good joint. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and do this back side here. So I'm going to do this back left pin. Alright, that's good. And we're going to do this front pin here. A little bit more flux again. So still need to add a little bit more solder.
Hey, do you remember doing this one time you done?
Alright, so it's pretty much filled in there. I'm gonna hit this back one a little bit again, make sure it fills in good. Alright, and as you can see, we are good to go. So now I'm just going to take toothbrush again, put some 99% on there, go ahead and clean this off. Alright, and you can see we are good to go. So that is the replacement on a K53E Asus DC jack repair. If you have any questions or comments, just put them below. I'll do my best to answer it. If there's another repair that you'd like me to do over the next, a couple days or weeks or months, just put that also in the comments below, and I'll do my best to take care of that. Thank you. Have a great day.